Why bhakti is so rare?
Krishna offers material happiness but not liberation, but bhakti is very difficult for him because he becomes our servant instead of...
Yeah. Krishna is reluctant to give it. And it is impossible to achieve it with our own efforts. Our own efforts are not enough to get bhakti. And even if we put all our effort, Krishna is reluctant to give it. So that makes bhakti extremely rare. So we have the example of the Pandavas. How to have Krishna in your home and act as your relative, friend, charioteer, guide, messenger. So it's not easy. So therefore Narad Muni is glorifying Yudhishthira. Who can be more fortunate than all of you? Firstly, the Supreme Brahman is residing in your home. He has given up his own family and then spending time with you. He has spent more time in Hastinapur than in Dwarka. Or maybe almost the same time. So who can be more fortunate than you? So that's why bhakti is so rare. That clear?
Kola Sridhar, that same case.
Kola Sridhar, the example gave that
is
for...
Chaitanya Prabhu.
Why did they give that example?
That is for the happiness includes and excludes both.
Happiness.
Yes.
Yeah, it bestows highest happiness. It includes the happiness, sense gratification, yogic powers, liberation. Bhakti includes all happiness. Yeah. So one devotee requested me that we need to spend a little more time with the shlokas. Is it? You feel? To help you memorize?
Yes.
So before we begin chapter 2, maybe we'll recite the verses that we have covered till now. So I'll recite, you can follow me. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 we have covered, or 5, 6 we have covered till now from the list of verses you have in the end of the book. So I'll recite, you can follow me. I'll recite maybe twice, enough? Anyabhilashita shunyam Jnana karmadyanavritam Anukulyena krishnanu Sheelanam bhaktiruttama Sarvopadhi vinirmuktam Tatparatvena nirmalam Rishikena Hrishikesha Sevanam bhakti ruchyate Shruti smriti puranadi Pancharatra vidhim vina Aikantiki harer bhakti Utpadayaiva kalpate Shruti smriti puranadi Pancharatra vidhim vina Aikantiki harer bhakti Utpadayaiva kalpate Ihayasya harer dasye Karmana manasagira Nikhila swapyavasthasu Jivan mukta sa uchyate Ihayasya harer dasye Karmana manasagira Nikhila swapyavasthasu Jivan mukta sa uchyate Ata Shri Krishna namadi Na bhavet grahyam indriyaihi Sevon mukhehi jivadau स्वयमेव स्फुरत्यदा अथ श्रीकृष्णनामादि न भवेद् ग्राह्यमिन्द्रियैः सेवोन्मुखे हि जिह्वादौ स्वयमेव स्फुरत्यदा. What else? Definition of huh? Where is that?
87.
Kleshagni? Yeah. क्लेशाग्निशुभदा मोक्षा लघुताकृत्सु दुर्लभा सांद्रानंद विशेषात्मा श्रीकृष्णाकर्षिणी च सा. क्लेशाग्निशुभदा मोक्षा लघुताकृत्सु दुर्लभा सांद्रानंद विशेषात्मा श्रीकृष्णाकर्षिणी च सा. Krishna, the reservoir of rasa, it is on the standard meter. Akhila Rasamrita Murti. Yeah, you can follow.
Akhila Rasamrita
Prasramara Ruchi Ruddha Taraka Pali.
Prasramara Ruchi Radhika Taraka Pali.
Got it right? You got the verse?
86.
86. Krishna, reservoir of rasa.
Rather important.
Kalita Shama Lalito
Kalita Shama Lalito
Radha Priyan Vidurjayati.
Radha Priyan Vidurjayati.
So what else we have? Other things we are not covered. Okay, so we'll move to chapter 2. Any clarifications needed with chapter 1? Anything of the previous chapters? Cycle of sin and 6 characteristics of pure devotional service. Okay, so chapter 2. Cycle of sin, you want explanation? So we have the root cause of sin as avidya or ignorance, which leads to bijam or material desire. And this leads to papam. Material desire leads to sinful action. Sinful action. This leads to aprarabdha reaction. Unmanifest reaction.
What does that mean, unmanifest reaction?
Unmanifest means the fruit is not yet visible. It is lying there dormant.
Mature, immature.
Mature, immature. This leads to prarabdha, right? Prarabdha or manifest reaction. For example, what is manifest reaction? What you are currently suffering, our body is a manifest reaction. And this leads to suffering. And one byproduct of aprarabdha reaction is kutam or sinful tendencies. The tendency to commit sin. And this results in it adds to the material desire. It enhances material desire. Yes, Prabhu.
Enhances material?
Bijam. It affects the bijam. Okay? Anything else? So now we'll go to chapter 2. So chapter 2 is the beginning of the second wave. The second wave of Eastern Ocean. Remember, there are waves?
4 waves.
4 waves. First wave was Samanya Bhakti, over general principles of devotion service. So this is the first wave, Sadhana Bhakti. Chapter 2 till chapter 16. If you see the chart, there you will find. Chapter 2 till 16 is Sadhana Bhakti. 17, 18 is Bhava Bhakti. And 19 is Prema Bhakti. Third and fourth waves. So Sadhana Bhakti is the longest and the biggest. And within Sadhana Bhakti, 2 to 14 is Vaidhi Sadhana Bhakti. There are 2 parts of Sadhana Bhakti which we'll see now today. And 15 and 16 are Raganuga Sadhana Bhakti.
Raj.
Raganuga. We'll discuss, it's part of this chapter. So, as we saw last time, there are 6 characteristics, and each characteristic comes with each character is associated with certain advancement. So Sadhana Bhakti has 2 characteristics, right? Kleshagni and Shubhada, part of Sadhana Bhakti. Moksha Lagu Takrit and Sudurlabha, part of Bhava Bhakti. And what is that? Sandrananda Visheshatma. And Sri Krishna Karshini. These are Prema Bhakti. So actually Bhava Bhakti includes these 2. It has 4. These are the 2 additional for Bhava Bhakti. It has these 2 plus these 2. Prema Bhakti has these 4 plus these 2 additional. So it's not that all 3 are separate and independent. So we'll open chapter 2. So the first paragraph, Rupa Goswami explaining this point. How, let us read. Yeah, let us read. Yes, Prabhu, you can read. First paragraph.
First categories. The 3 categories of devotional service which Srila Rupa Goswami describes in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu are listed as devotional service in practice, devotional service in ecstasy, and devotional service in pure love of Godhead. There are many subheadings in each of these categories. Generally, it is understood that in the category of devotional service in practice, there are 2 different qualities. Devotional service in ecstasy has 4 qualities, and devotional service in pure love of Godhead has 6 qualities. These qualities will be explained by Srila Rupa Goswami later on.
Yeah. Now, next paragraph is important. Okay, yeah.
In the connection, Sri Rupa Goswami suggests that the person eligible for Krishna consciousness or devotional service can be classified by his particular taste. He says that devotional service is a continual process from one's previous life. No one can take to devotional service unless he has had some previous connection with it. For example, suppose in his life I practice devotional service to some extent. Even though it is not 100% perfectly performed, whatever I have done will not be lost. In my next life, from the very point where I stop in this life, I shall begin again. In this way, there is always a continuity. But even if there is no continuity, if only by chance a person takes interest in a pure devotee's instruction, he can be accepted and can advance in devotional service. Anyway, for persons who have a natural taste for understanding books like Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam, devotional service is easier than for those who are simply accustomed to mental speculation and argumentative processes.
So the primary requirement for executing devotional service is taste. The first line of the paragraph. A person eligible can be classified by his particular taste or attraction. And Prabhupada explains how it is a continuous process. And what is left off in this life will be continued in the next life. Which is that verse? Neha vikramanashosti pratyavayan swalpamapyasya dharmasya trayate mahatobhaya. Gita, 2nd chapter. So whatever is left off, whatever is incomplete in this life, from there on you continue in your next life, the devotional advancement. Prabhupada says 50% you do it in this life, start from 51. You leave off at 80, continue with 81. In this way, there is no loss. Even if you do little bit, that is saved. But the check here is, you need taste to perform devotional service, and you get taste by performing devotional service. You see the, what do you call? Yeah. So, unless you have taste, you won't get. So you need a taste for attraction for devotion service. Attraction for devotion service is needed, and that will lead to execution of devotion service. But you get taste or you get attraction only if you have executed some amount of devotion service in your past life. Is that clear? This is what is explained here. So where to start then? Where will it begin? I have no attraction, and if I have no stock of past devotional credits, where will I begin?
Pure devotees association.
Yeah, that is the extra factor here, which we call by the term causeless mercy of a devotee. This is what will set off, start the cycle, and somewhere you have to begin, right? You don't have attraction, and attraction comes by devotional service. But to perform devotional service, I need attraction. So both are there, not there, both are missing. That is done by a causeless mercy. External factor is needed. So without that external factor, our spiritual life cannot begin. So we will see that.
A person has done something, like unconsciously he has done, like he has uttered the word of Krishna, and afterwards he is doing all sins. So Krishna says that if he is telling once also Hare Krishna mantra, I will not leave him. So afterwards he has not done anything. Devotional service, he is not doing anything. So what will be the position of him in the next life?
He will get a better chance.
Which he will get.
Yeah, better facilities.
But he has done all this sin, so he will.
Of course, he has to go through the reaction of the sin. Yes. But see, both piety and sin, in the material calculation, it's like two accounts. Both are considered. Both are up and down, keeps happening. You go to heavenly planets, you enjoy, exhaust your sin, pious credits. Go to hellish regions, you exhaust your sinful reactions. This keeps happening. The spiritual account is totally different. It's unaffected or has no connection with this thing. That spiritual credit account fills up whenever you chant Hare Krishna, whenever you take prasad or hear holy names. Some devotional credit, some devotional activity you do knowingly, unknowingly, whatever. That things keep adding up. And when it reaches a certain level, then that person voluntarily starts performing. So unknowing chanting, unknowing hearing, unknowingly taking prasad, some rendering of some service, he is not voluntarily doing. He happened to do somehow, by chance. But he is not proactively going ahead and committing those services. That's when the real devotional service begins. So to inspire a person to proactively go, you need sufficient credit, which comes from unknowingly doing here and there chota mota karke. That keeps accumulating. That's the job of a preacher. A preacher's job is he gives opportunity to various people, conditioned souls, unknowingly do small little things. And once sufficient credit, spiritual sukruti is accumulated in his account, then he will take up the process on its own. That's what we'll see now. Yes, third paragraph. Yes, you
To
get
support this statement, there are many authoritative assertions by the learned scholars of bygone ages. According to their general opinion, a person may become governed by certain convictions derived by his own arguments and decisions. Then another person, who may be a greater logician, will nullify these conclusions and establish another thesis. In this way, the path of the argument will never be safe or conclusive. Srimad Bhagavatam recommends, therefore, that one follow in the footsteps of the authorities.
Yeah, we saw Krishna Anushilanam. Anushilanam is following in the authorities. So if you open the notes, you have the notes, the printed, the Xerox. It's quite nicely given there. Eligibility for sadhana bhakti. So attraction to pleasing Krishna is the only requirement for beginning to practice pure devotion service. Got it?
Yes.
So that attraction, that is the eligibility. I want to please Krishna. I like these activities. I like the Gita. I like the philosophy. I like the Kirtan. That attraction is what qualifies a person to begin performing devotion service. This attraction results from devotion service performed in previous lifetimes. Usually that is the case. But even if that is not there, he is not disqualified. All is needed is it comes to the mercy of a pure devotee. The person is already performing devotion service. Pure devotee doesn't simply mean a liberated soul. We can also act as pure devotees. So if you are practicing pure devotional principles, in spite of our anarthas, we are as good as pure devotees. In the sense to give devotion service to others. Because we are instruments, acting as instruments in the hands of a pure devotee, we also are as good as pure devotee in the sense of giving devotion service to others. So this is the eligibility, that attraction, that taste for any devotional activity. This is the eligibility for sadhana bhakti. So next, Prabhupada gives example how devotion service is, sadhana bhakti is quite natural for everyone. It's not something artificially imposed. And he gives two examples of a child learning to walk and a person getting treated by a doctor. So we'll read that. Yes, who is reading?
Here is a general description of devotional service given by Sri Rupa Goswami in his Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. Previously it has been stated that devotional service can be divided into three categories, namely devotional service in practice, devotional service in ecstasy, and devotional service in pure love of God. Now Sri Rupa Goswami proposes to describe devotional service in practice.
Practice. Prabhupada explains practice is not the right term to describe sadhana bhakti, because practice is like you acquire something, acquire a skill and then you develop it. But this is not exactly practice. Yes, we will read.
Practice means employing our senses in some particular type of work. Therefore, devotional service in practice means utilizing our different sensory organs in service to Krishna. Some of the senses are meant for acquiring knowledge, and some are meant for executing the conclusions of our thinking, feeling, and willing. So, practice means employing both the mind and the senses in practical devotional service. This practice is not for developing something artificial. For example, a child learns and practices to walk. This walking is not unnatural. The walking capacity is there originally in the child, and simply by a little practice, he walks very nicely. Similarly, devotional service to the Supreme Lord is a natural instinct of every living entity. Even uncivilized men like the Aborigines offer their respective obeisances to something wonderful exhibited by nature's law. And they appreciate that behind some wonderful exhibition or action, there is something supreme. So this consciousness, though lying dormant in those who are materially contaminated, is found in every living entity. And when purified, this is called Krishna consciousness.
So ability to walk is latent in every child. It's just needs some little help from the parents, from elders, when he's trying to walk, some support. That's all is needed. The child will eventually walk. It's not externally imposed.
It's inbuilt.
It's inbuilt. And Prabhupada quotes the verse, CC verse. What is that? Nitya Siddha Krishna Prema Sadhya Kabunay Shravanadi Shuddha Chitte Karaye Uday. Nitya Siddha is Krishna Prema is there, built in, programmed into your system already. Shravanadi, just hearing, chanting, all these activities will just revive it. That process is what we are following, sadhana bhakti. Yes, next.
There are certain prescribed methods for employing our senses and mind in such a way that our dormant consciousness for loving Krishna will be invoked as much as child. With a little practice can begin to walk. One who has no basic walking capacity cannot walk by practice. Similarly, Krishna consciousness cannot arouse simply by practice. Actually, there is no such practice. When we wish to develop our innate capacity for devotional service, there are certain processes which, by executing them, will cause the dormant capacity to be invoked. Such practice is called sadhana.
Such practice, that activities that will revive, arouse our devotion tendencies, those are the activities of sadhana bhakti. So this is very, very important definition, because that's what we are practicing. It is not something spontaneous. We are doing it just because we have been told, and we have some little attraction for some basic activities, some maybe scriptural philosophy, some basic attraction we have to certain aspects of Krishna consciousness, and therefore we are qualified to perform sadhana bhakti. In the next paragraph, Prabhupada gives another example for how devotional service is latent.
Every living entity under the spell of material energy is held to be in an abnormal condition of madness. In Srimad Bhagavatam, it is said generally the conditioned soul is mad because he is always engaged in activities which are the causes of bondage and suffering.
You know this verse? Bhagavatam verse? Living entity is mad. Nunam pramatta kurute vikarma. Rishabdev is saying this. Yadindriya pritaya. The living entity is mad after sense gratification. Pramatta. Completely mad. That example is, what is it? Pravishta rupena. Mad. Completely, thoroughly mad for engaging in sense gratification. Yes.
Spirit soul in his original condition is joyful, blissful, eternal and full of knowledge. Only by his implication in material activities has he become miserable, temporary and full of ignorance. This is due to vikarma. Vikarma means action which should not be done. Therefore, we must practice sadhana bhakti, which means to offer Mangala Arati, deity worship in the morning, to refrain from certain material activities, to offer obeisance to the spiritual master, and to follow many other rules and regulations which will be discussed here one after another. These practices will help one become cured of madness, as a man's mental disease is cured by the directions of psychiatrist. So this sadhana bhakti cures the conditioned soul of his madness under the spell of maya, material illusion.
So offering obeisances, offering flowers, singing, dancing, these activities have the potency to revive that. One of the biggest accusations of materialists or non-devotees against religious people is that you are too ritualistic. And there's now become a fashion to say that I am spiritual but not religious. Heard of this? I am spiritual, but that means I am interested in obtaining and acquiring higher experiences. I believe in spiritual life, spiritual experience, but I don't like to follow all the external rituals. And the other extreme is I am too much caught up in religious activities, rituals, and forget the essence. So the first category is now very common. So they feel spiritual means I like good music, and that captivating, nice music, maybe some old classical, some kind of music where I feel the touch of my soul. And when I go to some peaceful place on a river bank or a seashore, and there I experience spiritual life. Or some people say work, job, I am too absorbed in my job and work. That is spiritual life for me.
Work is worship, yes.
Huh?
Work is worship.
Work is worship. And some say my family, when I am with my children and kids and my friends, and that is spiritual. Or when I am serving someone, some poor people, hospital doctors. So we will have all the speculative concepts of spiritual life. And what they hate is the mechanical following of religious rituals done by so-called faithful people. Chaitanya Prabhu gives a nice example. He says, why rituals are important. So if you know, there was a Prerna lecture, from ritual to spiritual. Maharaj gave this, and he gave a nice example. He said, if you want to post a letter, then you write the letter, or the contents, whatever is needed, important, and then you post it in an envelope. So the envelope is like the ritual, and the main content is the letter. You can't post the letter without the envelope. You can't say, oh, ultimately letter is important. What's the use of, why waste so much money and expenses in the envelope? But envelope protects. Envelope is a carrier of the main content, the main message. So simply putting the letter into the post box will not take it to the destination. On the other hand, if you spend too much time on the envelope, decorating it with nice decorations and paintings, and forget to put the letter inside, that is also a waste of time. So both are needed. Rituals are supposed to carry the essence of spiritual life, spirituality. Simply saying I am spiritual without following any bona fide recommended forms of rituals is not going to carry the message to the destination. So Chaitanya Prabhu gives an example. How, suppose you are in a cricket stadium and someone hits a six or a nice scores a nice run, and why do you clap? Clapping is a ritual. Why not just do like this, or do something, hit on the bench, something? Why only clap?
To cheer the person.
To cheer, but who decided? Who came up with this idea that clapping is a way of expressing your happiness? It's just natural, right? And everyone agrees. So someone can know, why only clapping? Why not hitting the legs, or do something, some extra, something out of the world? So anyone can argue for that matter. So clapping is a natural. It brings out the happiness in the form of, you express it. You express your appreciation for that hitting of 6 or 4 by clapping. So clapping is an act, ritualistic act, that conveys a certain emotion towards the public or the audience. Similarly, offering of obeisances or any other devotional act, ringing the bell or parikrama, these are ways by which we express our emotion, respectful emotion, devotional emotion towards the object. So when you offer obeisance, that can actually invoke that awe and reverence towards Krishna. Of course, if you forget the essence, then it is a waste. But naturally, when you offer obeisance, when you see an elder or your parents or someone or the deity, when you offer obeisance, it's a sign of humility, and that humility comes out. You express your humble emotion by falling down. So those activities are part of sadhana bhakti. And it has the ability to uncover all the unwanted things in our heart, and then that clean state of heart is now ready for executing deeper devotional sentiments. Sadhana bhakti is a process of uncovering. So next paragraph. You don't have a book. Yes, some.
Normally, I mentioned this sadhana bhakti in Srimad Bhagavatam, 7th canto, 1st chapter, verse 32. He says there are where to King Yudhishthira, neither king, one has to fix his mind on Krishna by any means. That is called Krishna consciousness. It is the duty of the Acharya, the spiritual master, to find the ways and means for his disciple to fix his mind on Krishna. That is the beginning of sadhana bhakti.
This is the essence of sadhana bhakti. Somehow or other fix the mind on Krishna. Yena kena prakarena mana Krishne niveshayet. Somehow or other. If you don't have any projects, take up some project where you can fix your mind on Krishna. Or get involved with some project where you can somehow remember Krishna. So everyone may not be able to come to temple every day, attend Mangal Aarati. So somehow we have to create a situation and create an environment at home or office where we can remember Krishna at all times, as much as possible. This is the essence of sadhana, remembering Krishna all the time. So if you read that notes, it very clearly outlines it. Definition of sadhana bhakti. Sadhana is a systematic practice executed with the mind and senses that reawakens the ecstatic love of Godhead, bhava bhakti, lying dormant within the heart. Sadhana bhakti has the capacity to invoke bhava bhakti. As a dormant seed does not grow without sunlight, the seed of love of Godhead cannot grow without receiving the Lord's mercy. Sadhana is a systematic process for purifying the heart and attracting the Lord's mercy to descend and revive one's dormant love of God. Very, very precise definition. The systematic process for purifying the heart and attracting the Lord's mercy. That process is sadhana bhakti. Cleaning the heart and attracting the mercy. So this is the definition of sadhana bhakti. You need to remember this. Next paragraph, Lord Chaitanya's, Prabhupada talks about Lord Chaitanya's method of chanting Hare Krishna and how chanting Hare Krishna is the easiest and the most effective method of remembering Krishna, keeping our mind on Krishna. Yes, Dheeraj, what do
Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has given us an authorized program for this purpose, centered around the chanting of Hare Krishna mantra. This chanting has so much power that it immediately attaches one to Krishna. That is the beginning of sadhana bhakti. Somehow or other, one has to fix his mind on Krishna. The great saint Ambarisha Maharaj, although a responsible king, fixed his mind on Krishna, and similarly, anyone who tries to fix his mind in this way will very rapidly make a progress in successful reviving his original Krishna consciousness.
So Ambarish used all his senses. Ears for hearing and tongue for chanting, eyes for seeing the darshan of the Lord, hands in cleaning the temple of the Lord, legs in walking towards the temple of the Lord. What else? Nose in smelling the flowers offered to the Lord. In this way, every sense organ was engaged in worshipping Krishna. Although he was a king. That is the interesting thing, despite being a king. So chanting Hare Krishna, when you meditate on the holy name, because holy name is not different from Krishna, that is the easiest Yuga Dharma for this age. And that can capture all our senses. It all starts with the verse we read, Ata Shri Krishna Namadi Nabhavet Grahyam Indriyaihi Sevon Mukhe. It starts with the tongue. Jivadau. Jiva means tongue. It starts with tongue, and the tongue has two functions, to taste and to vibrate. So these two functions, when you engage the tongue, especially in the chanting of holy name, that will start everything. It will all set the whole thing in motion. So next, Rupa Goswami and Prabhupada talks about the two divisions of sadhana bhakti. Vaidhi sadhana bhakti and Raganuga sadhana bhakti. So Raganuga is not explained here in detail. So the whole chapter is mostly about Vaidhi, but briefly Prabhupada talks about And Rupa Goswami also talks about Raganuga. Yes, this paragraph is important. Yes.
Now this sadhana bhakti or practice of devotional service may also be divided into two parts. The first part is called service according to regulative principles. One has to follow these different regulative principles by the order of the spiritual master or on the strength of authoritative scriptures, and there can be no question of refusal. That is called Vaidhi or regulative. One has to do it without argument. Another part of sadhana bhakti is called Raganuga. Raganuga refers to the point at which, by following the regulative principles, one becomes a little more attached to Krishna and executes devotional service out of natural law. For example, a person engaged in devotional service may be ordered to rise early in the morning and offer arti, which is a form of deity worship. In the beginning, by the order of his spiritual master, one rises early in the morning and offers arti, but then he develops real attachment. When he gets this attachment, he automatically tries to decorate the deity and prepare different kinds of dresses and thinks of different plans to execute his devotional service nicely. Although it is within the category of practice, this offering of loving service is spontaneous. So the practice of devotional service, sadhana bhakti, can be divided into two parts, namely regulative and spontaneous.
So Vaidhi and Raganuga. Vaidhi is offering of instructions based on scriptures and Guru's order. Guru has ordered me and scriptures are telling me if I don't follow, I may go to hell, I may have to suffer my karmic reactions. That fear is the motivating factor for performance of Vaidhi sadhana. Vidhi Nishedh, rules and regulations. And Raganuga mein, what happens is the person is little more advanced. He is not afraid of fear of reactions. He is attracted to, say, dressing the deity nicely, turban and a tribe. So we have so many darshans coming up. That's a symptom, one symptom of Raganuga. Not that everyone who does like that is on the Raganuga platform, but those who are on the Raganuga platform will definitely show these symptoms. So this is the difference. We will see in detail later. The distinction between Raganuga and Vaidhi is the motive. What is the motivation? What is motivating you to perform your devotional acts? Is it the instructions given in the scriptures or the order of the Guru? Or the spontaneous, the attraction, little more attraction. Yes. Definition of Vaidhi. This is important. Who's reading?
These principles of
Second paragraph, Rupa Goswami.
Rupa Goswami defines the first part of devotional practice of Vaidhi Bhakti as follows. When there is no attachment or no spontaneous loving service to the Lord, and one is engaged in the devotional service of the Lord simply out of obedience to the order of the spiritual master or in pursuance of the scripture, such obligatory service is called Vaidhi Bhakti.
Such obligatory service. I am obliged to Guru, I am obliged to my counselor or my senior devotees, and I don't want to offend them by disobeying them. I don't want to displease them. I have no attraction to getting up early in the morning. Therefore, we have in our temple we have a system of attendance. Ideally, it should not be like that. An ideal temple should not be there. But then we have a temple 457. If you don't mark your attendance, earlier it was 457, and then the attendance sheet would be removed, and then you have to write 108 times the Maha Mantra. Not any time during the japa period, so that your japa remains pending throughout the day. That is the punishment, and then that takes about half an hour, maybe half an hour, 45 minutes it takes. Right, whole Hare Krishna. Some people used to write earlier, beforehand. Then they would put it, I am ready. So that is a punishment. So not that we are spontaneously eager to get up early in the morning, especially in winter time it is still more difficult to get up early. And now we have a system where we have, so now that many devotees have grown older, beyond 40, some have gone 50, beyond 50. So some people have a little bit difficulty. May not be out of laziness, but some physical illness, some other things. So it may, so if they miss by 1 minute, they don't have to write unnecessarily 108 Mahamantras. So then there is a concession. So 457 till 457 you have a blue pen. till 5:10 you have a red pen. And after that the sheet will be removed. So you are absent. So 5:10 is the extra grace period. And there is no Mahamantra writing now, at least. They expect we are mature enough to not go through such childish punishments. But then if you miss out, if you are remaining absent more than a limited number of days, then they may call you and question you and interrogate you. Of course, in a more mature fashion. But the whole thing is to motivate getting up early and attend Mangalati. Understand the importance of getting up early, especially for temple residents. Getting up early in the morning, and that Brahma Muhurta time, if you don't spend in spiritual activity and spend your time in sleeping, such a waste. It's like a businessman investing in stock market at the right time. If that time is gone, then the returns are much less. Right? So for a devotee, whether it is a grihastha or a brahmachari, whoever it is, getting up that early morning period is crucial. It can give us unlimited returns in spiritual benefits. And if we can somehow make sure, get up early in the morning, chant our rounds, do our devotional activities in that period, there is nothing like that. It can, otherwise, the moment morning sets in, 7-8 o'clock, sun's ray comes, the mode of passion begins. And then it is such a struggle to concentrate on the holy name. So if you do a few years, then we realize how it is, mode of passion is overpowering us. Very difficult to, in the association of devotees is so easy many times. So that is, so getting up early should be our natural attraction. Should be eager, without even telling, we should be able to get up. In many college bases, we have to enforce these rules, because many people come to our college bases because it is cheap accommodation and cheap food. So they come in, then getting up early in the morning is a big struggle for such people. Of course, there is a training ground, but many people come because of cheap accommodation. And then we realize, we made a mistake by taking them. And then we have to request politely, you don't seem to be fitting here. But then sincere devotees get up early in the morning, and they are quite established, 4:30 even in basis. Hostel is, you go to sleep at 4. Here we have to get up at 4. Such a big 180-degree difference. So that regulation is sadhana bhakti. So therefore, in the initiation times, people who take initiation, they vow in front of the guru, in front of devotees, in front of fire and the deities. We vow that I will chant 16 rounds and follow the 4 regulative principles. That fear of violating the order of the guru is what motivates most of us to practice sadhana bhakti. So that falls under the category of vidhi. Nothing inferior, but it just shows the motivation. We need not belittle vidhi bhakti, it is less or less important. Yes.
These principles of Vaidhi Bhakti are also listed in the Srimad Bhagavatam, second canto, first chapter, verse 5. That Sukadeva Goswami instructs the dying Maharaja Parikshit as to his course of action. Maharaja Parikshit met Sukadeva Goswami just a week before his death, and the king was perplexed as to what should be done.
Can you be a little louder?
What should be done before he was to pass on. Many other sages also arrived there, but no one could give him proper directions. So the Goswami, however, gave this direction to him as follows: My dear king, if you want to be fearless in meeting your death next week, for actually everyone is afraid of at the point of death, then you must immediately begin the process of hearing and chanting and remembering the Lord. If one can chant and hear Hare Krishna and always remember the Lord Krishna, then he is sure to become fearless of death, which may come at any moment.
So Parikshit Maharaj is quoted as an example of Vaidhi Bhakti. That's interesting. And how that fear of death Shukdev Goswami used that excuse of fear, that cause of fear, as motivational for Parikshit. So if you want to get rid of the fear of death, which is going to happen in a few days for Parikshit, then you should focus your mind on Krishna. So another characteristic of Vaidhi Bhakti is the motivational source is external, not within. Either Guru's instruction, scriptural instruction, fear, these are the motivational factors, external of outside of you. That is the characteristic of Vaidhi Bhakti. Whereas for Raganuga it is inside, spontaneous. I have a natural attraction. Next paragraphs, Prabhupada talks about, now this is not a direct reference to Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, but Prabhupada takes the opportunity to explain the fear. What is fear of material existence, fear of death. To next 1, 2, 3 paragraphs are fear. Yes.
In the statements of Sukadeva Goswami, it is said that the Supreme Personality of Godhead is Krishna. Therefore, Sukadeva recommends that one should always hear about Krishna. He does not recommend that one hear and chant about any words. The Mayavadis impersonalists say that one may chant any name, either that of Krishna or those of the demigods, and the result will be the same. But actually, this is not a fact. According to authorized version of Srimad Bhagavatam, one has to hear and chant about Lord Vishnu, Krishna only.
So Mayavadis worship 5 demigods. Durga, Surya, Ganesh, Shiva and Vishnu. So Vishnu is the God, Supreme Lord. But these are the Panchopasana they call it. And they worship these 5 deities. And they worship them with the goal of, because they consider all 5 are ultimately one impersonal God. And you follow any one of them and ultimately you attain the supreme impersonal stage. And they are not our eternal worshipable objects. They are just the medium through which I can attain a higher stage. So they feel, out of you choose your pick. You pick up whatever you want, whatever you like, and then worship them, chant their names and attain success. So Prabhupada is condemning that attitude. You can't hear about anyone, only Krishna and Vishnu. Yes.
Surya, Ganesh, Shiva and Vishnu.
Surya, Ganesh, that's not written there.
Okay.
Surya, Ganesh, Durga, Shiva and Vishnu. Right?
Yeah.
Yes, who is reading? Next.
So Shukadeva Goswami
Yeah.
has recommended to Parikshit Maharaj that in order to be fearless of death, one has to hear and chant and remember the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, by all means. He also mentions that the Supreme Personality of Godhead is Sarvatma. Sarvatma means the super soul of everyone. Krishna is also mentioned as Ishvara, the Supreme Controller, who is situated in everyone's heart. Therefore, if some way or other we become attached to Krishna, he will make us free from all danger. In Bhagavad Gita, it is said that anyone who becomes a devotee of the Lord is never vanquished. Others, however, are always vanquished. Vanquished means that after getting this human form of life, a person does not come out of the entanglement of birth and death, and thus misses his golden opportunity. Such a person does not know where he is being thrown by the laws of nature.
Which is that verse? Vanquished?
Name
Bhakta Pranasya. Kshipram bhavati dharmatma shashvat shantim nigachati kaunteya pratijanihi Name Bhakta Pranashyati. Krishna is ordering, assuring Arjun that my devotee is never punished. Today in the Bhagavatam class, Gaurang Prabhu spoke about Yamadutas. Generally, ordinary people are afraid of Yamadutas. And Yamadutas are afraid of devotees. And he told a story, an interesting story. One dead body was going around and a crow passed stool. And that stool fell on his forehead. It took the form of a tilak, white colored. And then Yamadutas felt, oh, it's a devotee. Stay away from him. So this is the potency of even the external, whether it's a devotee or not. Even the external appearance of a devotee can keep Yamadutas away. So devotee is protected all the time. So ever since Ajamil pastime happened, there's a discussion between Yamadutas and Vishnu, Yamaraj. So a devotee is always protected. Even a little bit of devotional service protects him eternally, especially from going down to the hellish planets or going into the animal species of life. Once chanting Hare Krishna, once eating Mahaprasad protects him from getting into an animal species, animal body. Human body is guaranteed, right? Even God is guaranteed simply by chanting or associating, taking Mahaprasad once. Can you believe? Yes, next.
Suppose one does not develop Krishna consciousness in this human form of life, he will be thrown into the cycle of birth and death involving 8,400,000 species of life, and his spiritual identity will remain lost. One does not know whether he is going to be a plant or a beast or a bird or something like that, because there are so many species of life. The recommendation of Prabhu Goswami for receiving our original Krishna consciousness is that somehow or other we should apply our mind to Krishna very seriously and thus also become fearless of death. After that, we do not know our destination because we are completely under the control of the laws of nature. Only Krishna, the Supreme Person of Godhead, is controller over the laws of nature. Therefore, if we take shelter of Krishna seriously, there will be no fear of being thrown back into the cycle of many species of life. A sincere devotee will surely be transferred to the abode of Krishna as affirmed in Bhagavad Gita.
So this ends the section of fear, how Prabhupada is discussing the topic of fear and how to get out of fear, as advised to Parikshit by Shukdev Goswami. You need to focus your mind on Krishna. That remembrance of Krishna protects us from fear, and every living entity is captivated by that fear. The whole medical industry, cosmetic industry, insurance companies, everyone is running, capitalizing on the fear element of every condition. So no one wants to grow old, so then you hide old age using cosmetics. Then insurance gives you a false hope that somehow, even if, I don't know how that gets, but even if I die, my family members and relatives will enjoy the money and they will be protected. And medical industry will constantly keep assuring, no, death, we are about to conquer death, just a few researches away, and mortality rate is reducing, average lifespan is increasing. All these researches keep coming up. But interestingly, these researchers don't take into account suicides, accidents, and intentional murders or terrorist activities. These are not considered. If you consider them, then the lifespan will go much below 50, average lifespan. So these are all part of our environment. If you are born at this time, in this place, in this planet Earth, in this Kali Yuga, then your lifespan is much less than 50. Considering into account these all factors. But when they calculate the lifespan, they don't calculate this. They don't consider these. Suicides they don't consider.
Natural calamity.
Natural calamity, maybe, I don't know. But only deaths, the regular disease-stricken death, mostly that is taken into consideration. External factors, how man-made deaths, artificial deaths, conspiracy killings, these are not taken into account.
I have a question. See, I was in the hospital and one of my family member was hospitalized, and I have a Muslim lady sit next to me, and she said our guru has informed not to have anything on insurance, and she actually surrendered what she had. But is it, you are afraid that today the cost is so high, in case something happens to you, the cost of hospital will be too high. So do you really go in for a medical insurance, or trust God, or surrender to Him and do not take a medical insurance?
It's not that we don't do the basic formalities. Medical insurance, or approaching a friend, or approaching my bank, my employer, whatever. What distinguishes a devotee from a non-devotee is, where is your ultimate faith resting on? Usually what we do is, we first go to these options. We try to check out these options. When these fail, then we take shelter of Krishna. When there is no other option. So that exposes our lack of faith in Krishna. That doesn't mean if we have faith in Krishna, we don't do all these basic formalities. Even when we are doing medical insurance or going to doctors, other things, material things, when we are doing, if we are in the constant back of our mind, if we remember that these things cannot give me ultimate protection, these have limitations. They have their own limitations. Ultimately, Krishna is a controller. Even for medical insurance to work and my medicine to work on my body, Krishna has to sanction. And so many factors are involved for a successful outcome of an operation. Ultimately, Krishna is the controller. Therefore, in the Gita, you have that verse, 18th chapter. 5 factors. Read the Gita? You read the Bhaktishastri Gita? 5 factors that control the outcome of any action. Adhishtanam tatha karta karanam cha pratakvidam vividhascha pratak cheshta daivam chaivatra panchamam. Adhishtanam, the place of action. Karta, the doer. Karanam, the what is that? Karanam? The instruments. Cha pratakvidam. Vividhascha pratak, the efforts put. And finally, daivam, sanction from the Supreme Lord. So you do all this. You follow the basic things, what we are supposed to follow. But where is our faith? If you are convinced that my money will save me, medical insurance will save me, and without the connection with the Supreme, then it's harmful for our spiritual life. Anything else before we go ahead? So here in the notes we have some clean definitions. 2 types of sadhana, Vaidhi and Raganuga. The difference between them is mainly in their inspiration. Saw that? When the inspiration for practicing devotional service comes from a natural attraction to pleasing Krishna, one engages in Raganuga sadhana. When there is no such natural attraction and the inspiration for practicing devotional service comes from the scriptures and the orders of the spiritual master, one engages in Vaidhi sadhana bhakti. So chapter 2 through 14 describe Vaidhi sadhana. Example of Vaidhi sadhana is Shukdev Goswami telling Parikshit, if you want to be fearless, you have to somehow focus your mind on Krishna. Okay, now let us move ahead. Now the essence of Vaidhi sadhana bhakti is described. So the essence of sadhana bhakti is there. Somehow remember Krishna. And essence of Vaidhi sadhana. That's described in the next 2 paragraphs. Yes.
In the Padma Purana also, the same process is advised. There it is said that one should always remember Lord Vishnu. This is called dhyana or meditation. Always remembering Krishna. It is said that one has to meditate. It is said that one has to meditate with his mind fixed upon Vishnu. Padma Purana recommends that one always fix his mind on the form of Vishnu by meditation and not forget him at any moment. And this state of consciousness is called samadhi or trance.
Yes, next.
We should always try to mold the activities of our lives in such a way that we will constantly remember Vishnu or Krishna. That is Krishna consciousness. Whether one concentrates his mind on the 4-handed form of Vishnu or on the form of 2-handed Krishna, it is the same. The Padma Purana recommends somehow or the other always think of Vishnu without forgetting him under any circumstances. Actually, this is the most basic of all regulative principles. For when there is an order from a superior about doing something, there is simultaneously a prohibition. When the order is that one should always remember Krishna, the prohibition is that one should never forget him. Within this simple order and prohibition, all regulative principles are found in it.
So Vaidhi sadhana bhakti means there are so many rules and regulations, vidhis and nisheds, that once we start following them, we may get confused. What to follow, what not to follow, when to do this, when not to do this. Ekadashi, what to do when it is broken, what not to do. So many, little bit here and there. Okay, 4 regulative principles we understand. There's no confusion about that. But other minor things, especially in the DT room, or no, you should not do this. Once you do this, then you have to do this. So once we start thinking about these rules and regulations, we may miss out the essence, then the goal of the whole practice. And therefore in the Nectar of Instruction we find that verse, Niyama Agraha and Niyamagraha. Rupa Goswami is talking about these two things. Getting too much attached to rules and regulations and feeling proud about it, that I can follow so strictly. Chanting, say for example Gayatri at this particular moment only, and that muhurta is actually, there is a muhurta. There are some computer calculations available now where you can find out the exact muhurta of chanting the Gayatri. So you may get, so that's good. If you can chant at the right time, the right manner, the right pronunciation, it's good. But then what is the purpose of doing that? Ultimately to please Krishna, and that should not be forgotten. And we should take all our efforts. So too much strictness about the rules and regulations, forgetting the essence, is niyama agraha. And whimsically rejecting, oh, ultimately just remember Krishna, I don't care about all these details. That is also wrong. As much as possible we put our effort. That is niyama agraha, ignoring the rules and regulations. So when we get into all these rules and regulations, especially the details, then there could be a confusion of what is the essence. Therefore there is a verse to remind you what is the goal, what is the essence. That is the verse that we are going to recite now. It is there in the end. Page number 87. Most important scriptural injunction, remember Krishna. You didn't get the notebook? You didn't? No, got it?
No, I got this.
Achha. Smartavyas satatam Vishnor Vismartavyo na jatu chit Sarve vidhi nishedhasyur Etayoreva kinkara Smartavyas satatam Vishnor Vismartavyo na jatu chit Sarve vidhi nishedhasyur Etayoreva kinkara Smartavyas satatam Vishnor Vismartavyo na jatu chit Sarve vidhi nishedhasyur Etayoreva kinkara. I think it is E, yeah? Instead of I. Itayor, it's written, right? It should be E ideally. Always remember Krishna and never forget him. All the rules and prohibitions mentioned in the Shastras are servants of these two principles. So if you are confused about following a rule, think about this. Is it going to help me remember Krishna? Therefore I must follow. If you are told not to do something, why? Can it cause forgetfulness of Krishna? That's how you test. If something is told not to do, maybe it can cause forgetfulness of Krishna. Vismartavyo na jatuchit. Do not be overcome by forgetfulness. And smartavya satam Krishna. Always remember Krishna. So this is the guiding yardstick by which we can test which rule to follow, which not to follow. So the 4 regulative principles, why we follow? Because they can strongly make us forget Krishna. No meriting, no illicit sex, no intoxication, no gambling. These are the activities in the mode of passion and ignorance. They can heavily influence us to forget Krishna. So a human being, at least, by following these 4 regulative principles, we become at least a human being. And that state helps us remember Krishna nicely. Similarly, any over endeavor to attain material benefits, which sucks away too much of our time, that should also be avoided. Too much into gambling enterprises, stock market analysis, or what else, sporting engagements, television, internet surfing. In the name of service, we may indulge in all these things. But then we may forget Krishna. Politics, so many socio-political changes keep happening in the country, in the world, world affairs, world news, national news. Is it needed? Is it making me forget Krishna or helping me remember Krishna? That's where you decide when to stop, where to stop, how much to take, how much to avoid. So, Smartavya, this is the essence, this verse is the essence of Vaidhi sadhana. This should be our guiding light. Yes, next paragraph. Who's reading? Yes, Mati, can you read?
This literary principle is applicable to all varnas in the ashramas, the caste and the occupations of life. There are 4 varnas, namely the brahmanas, these intellectuals, the kshatriyas, warriors in the statesmen, the vaishyas, the businessmen and the farmers, and the shudras, devas and the servants. There are also 4 standard ashrams, namely brahmacharya, student life, grahastha, householder, vanaprastham, retired, and sannyasa, renounced. The regulative principles are not only for the brahmacharyas, celibate students to follow, but are applicable for all. It doesn't matter whether one is beginner, brahmachari, or is very advanced, a sannyasi. The principle of remembering the Supreme Personality of Godhead constantly and not forgetting Him at any moment is meant to be followed by everyone without fail.
So this is a constant principle for all varnas, for all ashramas, and this is not a part of Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu again. Rupa Goswami is not talking about this. Prabhupada is giving that extra information for his for his audience who may not be familiar with the varnashram system. And next paragraph is also again an explanation of varnashram. 2-3 paragraphs. So the 4 varnas, 4 ashramas, this is again a big, the caste system, ISKCON in that sense is radical. We are trying to reintroduce a system that is heavily condemned in society nowadays. Whole school textbooks are dedicated to condemning how the caste system is evil, the evils of caste system, how to eradicate the caste system, the whole reservation system. It's all targeted towards abolishing the whole thing. There is this institute, Tata Institute of Social Science, Chembur, TISS. And they have first year they have a course, foundation course, and this heavy blasphemy of the Varnashram system, criticizing heavily, and how the Manu Samhita is bogus and it's so exploitative, how the Varnashram system is exploitative, the Hindu caste system is exploitative, and they are really brainwashed to understand that what you are following is evil. And they have the Ambedkar's philosophy taught. It's a part of the academics. It's really taught in their system. And once you go through that course, you really come out as a first-class atheist. Yeah, total atheistic mentality. And I do a program there, not inside the campus, or outside campus in a devotee's room, and I have to face all these questions. Once I took the Chaturanyam verse, Gita verse. Krishna is talking about I created the 4 divisions of system, and that lasted a long time. The debate and why do we need to create the system? Why this division? And what's the need? It breeds exploitation, and then I had to explain how even exploitation exists even now. So capitalists and communists, so much the difference between the haves and the have-not, the rich and the poor, it's widening continuously, constantly. And the reservation system, you can't cure a defect in the system by introducing similar system. So their argument is Brahmana exploited the lower castes in the earlier ages. So what do you do now? Put the lower classes on the top, give them reservation, all those things. So that's not going to rectify the situation. I read a Facebook post where it was criticizing the reservation system. And they said, if reservation has to be there, then why only in education? Why not in sports? Give reservation for cricketers. Cricketers who are coming from the lower caste, they should be taken out of 11 members in a team. Few should be reserved for lower caste. And if a lower caste batsman is playing cricket, his boundary line should be smaller than if he hits a 6, it should be counted as 8. And all these calculations are there. And even in aircraft, engineers, pilots should be reserved. And in those planes where reserve caste pilots are flying the plane, politicians should be made to travel in case something happens. Reservation doctors who get reservation. So why not reservation everywhere? That's the question. Why only in education? So such a big evil. But we are trying to reintroduce the Varnashram system and the Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra classes. Yes, next.
If this injunction is followed, then all other rules and regulations will automatically fall into line. All other rules and regulations should be treated as assistant or servant to this one basic principle. The injunction of rules and regulation and the result in action are mentioned in the 11th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, 5th chapter, verses 2 and 3. Shamsha Muni, one of the 9 sages, came to instruct King Mimi, addressed the king and said, the 4 social orders, namely the Brahmanas, Kshatriyas, the Vaishyas and the Shudras, have come out of the different parts of the universal form of the Supreme Lord as follows. The Brahmanas have come out from the head, the Kshatriyas have come out from the arms, the Vaishyas have come out from the waist, and the Shudras have come out from the legs. Similarly, the Sannyasis have come out from the head, the Vanpras have come out from the arms, the Grihasthas from the waist, and Brahmacharis from the legs.
This is interesting. 4 Varnas and their connection with the universal form. So, the Shudras and the Brahmacharis from the leg of the universal form. Sannyasis and Brahmanas from the head. Head means giving direction to society.
Why Brahmacharis from the legs?
Why? I don't have an answer. That's how it is. They are assistants, to all the Varnas, especially the Sannyasis. Brahmacharis are acting as the assistants. Just like Shudras are the assistants for all 3 Varnas, Brahmacharis are the assistants for the 3 ashrams. Yes, next. Prabhupada talks about how Varnashram, if someone is strictly following the Varnashram system, all the rules and regulations, but misses the essence. What is the essence? Remembering Krishna. Then he will fall down. Yes, we'll read.
These different orders of society and grades of spiritual advancement are conceived in terms of qualification. It is confirmed in Bhagavad Gita that the 4 social orders and the 4 spiritual orders are created by Lord Himself in terms of different individual qualities, as the different part of the body have different types of activities. So the social orders and spiritual orders also have different types of activities in terms of qualification and position. The target of these activities, however, is always the Supreme Personality of Godhead, as confirmed in Bhagavad Gita. He is the superior enjoyer. He is the supreme enjoyer. So, whether one is a Brahmana or a Sudra, one has to satisfy the Supreme Lord by one's activities. This is also confirmed in Srimad Bhagavatam by a verse which reads, everyone must be engaged in his particular duty, but the perfection of such work should be tested by how far the Lord is satisfied with such activities. The injunction herein is that one has to act according to his position, and by such activities one must either satisfy the Supreme Personality or else fall down from one's position.
So reintroducing Varnashram is not very practical in today's times. Prabhupada said that 50% of my job is unfinished, and that is re-establishing Varnashram system. But he knew the limitations, and he didn't push so much. He encouraged farm communities and encouraging empowering the villagers and coming back to the root system. But Kali Yuga is such a topsy-turvy time that it's almost impossible to reintroduce the Varnashram system. So therefore the essence of Varnashram system, that to remember Krishna, Vishnur Aradhyate Pantha Nanyat Tattosha Karanam. The purpose of Varnashram is that everyone will be engaged in their particular occupational duty, and by that activity one can please the Supreme Lord. But if that is forgotten, that is missing, then Varnashram is useless. Therefore, in the discussion between Lord Chaitanya and Ramananda Rai, you find this point. So Lord Chaitanya is asking Ramananda Rai, what is the highest goal? And he keeps talking about, starts from the lowest. What is the lowest thing he says? He says something. And at one point he says, following Varnashram is the best, because that can lead one to the highest perfection. But Lord Chaitanya rejects it, says, Eho Bahya, Aage kaho aar. He says, go ahead, go to read. So this is external. Lord Chaitanya didn't give too much importance to following Varnashram system. And then then Ramananda talks about Sarva Dharman Parityaja. That is also rejected as external. Lord Chaitanya rejects it. And then he goes on to, he says, Gyane Prayasam, the Bhagavatam verse. From there on, he says, this is now, you are coming to the point. But Varnashram is considered external because the risk is there. You may get too much caught up with the rules and Varnas and divisions, and again the same disease may creep in. What disease?
Forgetting Krishna.
And exploitation, what we see in modern system. I am superior, I am inferior, you are inferior, I have better rights, higher rights. That risk is always there in Kali Yuga, in any time, in the material world. At the essence, if the sannyasis and the brahmanas are not guiding and reminding the population of the goal, then the risk is there of forgetting the essence.
Prabhuji,
Huh.
in Mahabharata we see that Karna, although born of Kuri, because he was, a Sakya Putra, although he had skills of archery, he was not allowed to practice it. Vishnudev himself told that since you are not born in Kshatriya,
Correct.
you cannot do it. So at that time also, wherein this situation arises?
Yes. To some extent, the exploitative system of Varnashram existed even during Dwapar Yuga. Dwapar Yuga is not a time when everything was ideal. We talk about Vedic culture, everything ideal in the earlier ages. We keep talking about that. But SNA, it's not that everything was perfect even during Yudhishthir's time, Krishna's time. So, Dwapar Yuga is towards almost near Kali Yuga. So, the evils of Kali Yuga were beginning to manifest.
But since Krishna is told that the practice should be according to the quality of work, so why Bhishma there is not allowing Karna, and even Dronacharya is not willing to offer the, all the skills to Karna? Why he is not giving it if they both of them know it?
One way you allow someone in a Varnashram, simply skill is not taken into consideration. Skill along with character is considered. So one reason why these two rejected Karna is the way he approached. How did he challenge? Right? He came in a challenging mood, in a rebellious mood to check, and requested participation. He challenged participation. I want to be allowed. So that itself shows the arrogance. In a Vedic culture, simply competence is not enough. Character and competence should go together. Education without character is dangerous. It's dangerous. So similarly, Ekalavya also is another example. He had the skill and competence. But why was he disallowed? Dronacharya asked for his finger, right? Thumb. So simply skill, exhibition of skill. See, this is how Karna is a typical example of playing the victim card. Oh, I am being discriminated against. I am being discriminated against. I am not given the rights. Are you qualified for the rights? So this rebellious mood, the Shudra revolution that we see nowadays, lower caste revolting against the higher caste, employees revolting against their employers, employees revolting against their bosses, children revolting against their parents, students revolting against college authorities, someone in the lower rung of the ladder revolting against someone superior. This is a typical symptom of Kali Yuga. The Shudras try to demand rights without deserving the rights, and that is considered fashionable. So why Karna is a hero? Because he apparently came from a lower caste, and he's challenging someone who is already established in the royal order or in somewhere in a higher position. So challenging and revolting against a superior is considered fashionable and nice, is worthy of emulation. So Dronacharya, Bhishma, in those times they didn't feel he had the proper character to participate in the competition. He had all the skills. Maybe he was better than Arjuna also, probably. Could have been better than Arjuna. But then to rule a kingdom, to become the king, you need character also along with competence. That appeared to be missing in him. There could be various reasons. This is one of the reasons why they rejected. Or if at all they have committed a mistake, then could be a mistake also on the part of Bhishma and Dronacharya. They probably misuse the caste system. It can be taken that way also. The evil part of the caste system existed even during that time.
So it was at that time also that the Shudra had to do the Shudra work only, right? There was a Sarthi Putra, so he could drive the chariot only, not participate in the military.
Yeah, so some evil forms of the caste system could have been existing in those times. But usually in those times, at least 5,000 years ago, the Varnashram was quite intact, quite in shape. Suta Sarthi Putra had the disposition of a Sarthi. He had the skills and the inclination and the capacity of executing that job nicely. Carpenter's son would work in that fashion. He had all the skills, goldsmith, blacksmith, all those activities. So therefore you find in ideal Varnashram system, even 200 years ago, British time, every village was self-sufficient. Because it went in parampara. Every job was handed over to the next generation. And therefore no one had to travel outside for earning money. Because everything was there here in one village. What's the need to travel outside? Within 15 minutes everything you get. So now in the age of acquiring external skills beyond your Varna, because now it is everything mixed up. All Varnas are mixed up. So therefore everyone has to strive for, everyone is going for engineering. Everyone is going for medicine or goes chartered accountancy. So where is the skill? Now if you go to a village to find a laborer, it's such a big struggle. You don't get laborers to do farming land job and plucking fruits. You don't get it all. Because the Varnashram system has collapsed. And in those times, the biggest problem is nowadays people are not respected for their profession. Therefore, people who are in the lower rungs, say Shudra, carpentry job or farming job, they feel I am not getting the respect and appreciation for what I am doing. And people who are on, say, software job or banking jobs, they are respected more. So ultimately, everyone is hankering for that respect and acknowledgement. So wherever you get that, you go for that. So an engineer is respected more, a doctor is respected more. So I'll go there. And respect means more money. So if a society is well established, in a cultured, civilized society, every job is respected. So farmer doesn't feel inferior because I'm a farmer. Carpenter doesn't feel inferior because he's a carpenter or a blacksmith, whatever it is. When the respect for us, other job professions goes away, then that's the beginning of collapse of the Varnashram system. So in those times there could be, we don't expect that everything was ideal during Hastinapur time, Yudhishthir's Pandava's time. But much better than what it is now in Kali Yuga. Does that answer?
One more thing, maybe like Karna disrespected his own, this one as a Sarthi, he disrespected his, like Varna. So maybe that is why Bhishma did not consider him to be qualified enough to, to get into a Kshatriya. This one.
How Karna disrespected?
Because he didn't want to be a Sarathi, he was a son of a Sarathi.
Could
he
be.
Disrespected his own this one.
Profession.
Yeah, profession.
True. Yes.
So isn't it like, when somebody is taken a birth in any of the families or any of the systems, nature on its own decides depending on the character, because the soul comprising of the ego, character and intelligence. So when it is being given a birth in any of the families, isn't it by the nature's arrangement that he is put into such a situation relating to his
Yes, that is true.
disposition?
Yes.
In this particular case, it's a mismatch because it's thrown in from some thing to something else. There's a mismatch, and it is very exceptional. Basically, when somebody of some disposition gets into something like Vishwamitra, he was originally Kshatriya, wants to become the Brahmana, and the Parshurama wants to do the same thing. These are the very exceptional cases. But in general, routinized way, when taken a birth by anybody in any of the families, probably by nature's arrangement, it is
correct.
For the disposition given by the nature.
Yeah.
And when he grows in that particular
he will excel in that field.
Obviously, gets up those particular
Yeah. A child born in a doctor's family, mother and father are doctors, and grandparents are doctors, brother, sister are doctors, and a child is born there. Now, naturally, the best thing he should become a doctor, right? Natural for. No one is forcing him. Simply because he's born in a family of doctors doesn't mean he will automatically become a doctor. He has to qualify MBBS and other things he has to do. But the environment is so favorable for him or her to become a doctor.
Like even though that one who has that particular, like it is said, who could not complete his devotional service gets a birth into the family of Vaishnava. So this is the nature's arrangement it happens.
Yes.
For the rest of the things also is the same thing.
Yeah, true. Correct. Yeah, very nice point. Someone who is a devotee, practice devotional service, is born in a devotee family. Similarly, someone who has in a certain varna, he has excelled in certain varna, then the next life is born into that varna kind of family. Could be. That's quite logical. Anyone wants to add anything else? Okay, we'll move ahead. It's a very sensitive topic and exactly identifying what is right, what is wrong. Today Gauranga was talking about how Yudhishthir admitted of committing a mistake at the Draupadi Vastraharan incident. He admitted Dharma personified and never spoken a lie, but he didn't act when Draupadi was being insulted, and then he admitted that mistake. So not that everyone was perfect, every decision taken, everything that happened was 100% perfect. Even Yudhishthir could commit a mistake, so Bhishma also committed a mistake, and Dronacharya committed a mistake. So mistakes did happen in Mahabharata also. Yes. Where are we?
For example, a Brahmana.
Yeah.
For example, a Brahmana who is born out of aid of the Lord as his business to preach transcendental Vedic sounds or Sabda Brahma. Because the Brahmana is the head, he has to preach the transcendental sound and he also has to eat on behalf of Supreme Lord. According to Vedic injunctions, when a Brahmana eats, it is to be understood that the personality of God is eating through him. It is not, however, that the Brahmana should simply eat on behalf of the Lord and not preach the message of Bhagavad Gita to the world. Actually, one who preaches the message of the Gita is very dear to Krishna, as is confirmed in the Gita itself. Such a preacher is actually a Brahmana, and thus by following him one feels the Supreme Lord directly.
Yes. Kshatriya, next Kshatriya, Vaishyas and Shudra.
Similarly, the Kshatriya has to protect people from the onslaughts of Maya. That is his duty. For example, as soon as Maharaj Parikshit saw that a black man was attempting to kill a cow, he immediately took his sword, wanting to kill the black man whose name was Kali. That is a Kshatriya's duty. Violence is required in order to give protection. In Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna directly gave his order to Arjuna to commit violence on the battlefield of Kurukshetra, just to give protection to the people in general.
Vaishyas?
Vaishyas are meant for producing agricultural products, trading them and distributing them. And the working class are Shudras are those who haven't the intelligence of Brahmanas or the Kshatriyas or the Vaishyas, and therefore they are meant to help these higher classes by bodily labor. In this way, there is full cooperation and skillful advancement among all different orders of society. And when there is no such cooperation, the members of society will fall down. That is the present position in Kali Yuga, this age of quarrel. Nobody is doing his duty, and everyone is simply puffed up by calling himself as Brahmana, intellectual, or Kshatriya, so they are statesmen, but actually such people are without status. They are out of touch with Supreme Personal Godhead because they are not Krishna conscious. Therefore, the Krishna consciousness movement is intent to set the whole of human society in proper condition so that everyone will be happy and take profit from developing Krishna consciousness.
Nowadays, you don't find people who are proud of being a Brahmana or Kshatriya, because most people don't even know what their Varna is. They are confused about their identity. And but we do find a similar version. People are found proud of their being an engineer, being a doctor, being a businessman, being something. That pride is there. I am a teacher, my job, I am proud of that. That pride again is a pride in the caste system. It's a division of society, and we are taking pride in my position in society. And people are confused. What the Prabhupada write? No such cooperation. Such people are without status. There are lakhs of engineering students and medical students passing out every year, but the number of jobs are hardly in proportion to that. And they do PG, post graduation, and then they still don't get a job, and then they become a lecturer or a professor. Yeah, because there is no job, or they start their own coaching classes. This is how the vicious cycle is going on. Medicine, you have to do MBBS is worthless nowadays, and MD is respectable. You may get something to maintain your livelihood. Unless you do super specialization, you can't earn a fat salary.
And even in MD, you start earning from 35.
35.
Yeah.
MD you get, right? Something?
Huh?
When you are doing MD, you get something, no? Stipend?
Yeah, but that is
Hardly anything. So 22 you finish your MBBS, right?
Yeah.
And then 25 you do MD, and then 30, my God. Yeah, internship is there in between. So 30, half of your life is gone in studying. Half of your life is gone in preparing for the next half. What a waste. In case you live up to 60. Otherwise, more than half is gone. So this is the present pathetic condition. Engineers, I go to engineering college for programs. There I see most engineering students are unclear about their fundamental concepts. Mathematics is extremely poor. The calculus, there is calculus concept subject called calculus, integrals and differential. No one knows. Even the final year engineering student doesn't know what is calculus. And then the whole engineering based on those things. All they know is apply the formula and get the result. But if you ask what is it, no one has an understanding. And they have these books called TechMax. TechMax are purely exam oriented books. How to clear your exams. Bombay University. and you do this. These are the problems that have come in the past few years, and then you study these problems. These are formula you apply, and then you clear exam. No one refers to standard reference books where the concepts are explained in detail, except
There is no time.
not that they don't have time. They have enough time to waste.
Because college and schools, they give such a work. They cannot even finish.
No, but engineering is relatively.
Instinct is not there.
Instinct is not there. Ultimately, what's the use? Because so many engineers are coming out, except maybe in IITs, colleges like IIT, no one understands what the concepts are. Very poor status. And then they come out as engineers. Even PhDs are purchased. PhD certificates are purchased. They just copy paste from here and there, prepare a thesis, and then one devotee told me, one devotee is doing PhD now. He said out of 30% of the PhDs are maybe genuine. At best, 30. Rest all are borrowed theses. Final year engineering students have to do projects. They're supposed to submit a project. That is now business, to sell projects. People pay 15, 20, 25,000. Students pay 15, 20, 25,000 to purchase a project which is submitted. And the teachers know, the project guides know this is purchased. The guides will direct you where to purchase from. That is the business now. Not how to do. Ideally, the guide is supposed to guide on how to give an idea for the project and then guide the student. That is a gone thing. They will tell you. And the teachers are running the business of selling the projects. To join in the colleges, the teachers won't teach. And then they will tell the students to join my coaching class. And then they will teach nicely. This is the condition nowadays. Education has become a business. So everything is topsy-turvy. No one understands what my psychology is, what is my aptitude, and where I should find a job to follow a profession that can give me money and earn something. Even if someone identifies it, it's not respected. Someone will say good in arts. Where is the job where art can fetch you money? Writing journalism is hardly respected. Where is the job that will give you enough money in writing for newspapers or magazines? Cooking, nothing. These are all vanishing professions. Very soon they will be gone. In the India Rising event, you might have seen that handicrafts. The India Rising event that happened in Ghatkopar a few months back. All these local handicrafts display was there. And so these arts, hand-woven cloth, design and pottery, there's no takers for this. It's all plastic nowadays. So therefore these professions are vanishing. And if the government is supposed to do, they should encourage them, create a market for these people. Now we have everything flooded by Chinese goods. Right? It's a flood. And in China, what's happening? Children are employed. It's all child labor. Otherwise, how can they produce such cheap products? So there the condition is horrible, and here they are destroying our local talent. So the government, therefore you need a visionary government leader who understands the dangers of all these kinds of businesses. A king like Parikshit. Yes, next.
Lord Sri Krishna instructed Uddhava that by following the injunctions of the social and spiritual orders of human society, one can satisfy the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and as a result of such satisfaction, the whole society gets all the necessity of life amply and without difficulty. This is because, after all, the Supreme Personality of Godhead maintains all other living entities. The whole society performs its respective duties and remains in Krishna consciousness. There is no doubt that all of its members will live very peacefully and happily. Without wanting the necessities of life, the whole world will be turned into Vaikuntha, a spiritual abode. Even without being transferred to the kingdom of God, by following the injunctions of Srimad Bhagavatam and prosecuting the duties of Krishna consciousness, all human society will be happy in all respects.
Yeah, Prabhupada writes a nice statement in the introduction to the Bhagavatam. The message of the Bhagavatam can re-spiritualize. It is meant for the re-spiritualization of a misdirected civilization. The message of the Bhagavatam. It's a revolutionary message. And therefore he had faith. He just went to the US with the first canto. All he had was a trunk full of first canto books. Nothing else. And he was confident that this can create a revolution in the lives of the misdirected civilization. Yes. Last two paragraphs.
There is a similar statement by Sri Krishna himself to Uddhava in the 11th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, 27th chapter, verse 49. The Lord says that, my dear Uddhava, all persons are engaged in activities, whether those indicated in the revealed scriptures or ordinary worldly activities. If by the result of either such activities they worship me in Krishna consciousness, then automatically they become very active within this world as well as in the next. Of this there is no doubt. We can conclude from this statement by Krishna that activities in Krishna consciousness will give everyone all perfections in all desires.
So in many chapters you will find a lot of quotations from the Uddhava Gita, 11th canto. Uddhava Gita is an expanded version of the Bhagavad Gita. It has 23 chapters. And whatever Krishna did not speak to Arjun, because battlefield was an intense scene, he didn't have much time. Uddhava Gita was spoken in a much more relaxed environment. And Uddhava had a much more relaxed conversation with Krishna. He would ask many more detailed information from Krishna. So that's a very big section. The 11th canto is almost full of major section is covered by the Uddhava Gita. So many verses in the Bhagavatam, in the Nectar of Devotion, you find references from Uddhava Gita, not much from the Bhagavad Gita.
Thus,
Yeah.
thus the Krishna consciousness movement is so nice that there is no need of even designating oneself Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra, Brahmachari, Grahastha, Vanprastha or Sannyasi. Let everyone be engaged in whatever occupation he now has. Simply let him worship Lord Krishna by the result of his activities in Krishna consciousness. That will adjust the whole situation and everyone will be happy and peaceful within this world. In the Narada Panchaka Ratra, the regulative principles of devotional service are described as follows. Any activities sanctioned in the revealed scriptures and aiming at the satisfaction of Supreme Personality of Godhead are accepted by saintly teachers as the regulative principles of devotional service. If one regularly executes such service unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead under the direction of a bona fide spiritual master, then gradually he rises to the platform of serving in pure love of God.
So when Varnashram is followed perfectly without remembrance of Krishna will lead to fall down. On the other hand, even imperfect following of Varnashram with remembrance of Krishna can guarantee all success. That's the point here. And sadhana bhakti can uncover all the impurities that is covering us, and that situation, that pure state will make us qualified and elevate us to the stage of bhava bhakti, from where we can proceed towards prema bhakti. So that's the end of chapter 2. Any comments? Anyone wants to share? It's a small chapter. Many chapters are small, so we can finish early also. So 2 till 16 is all sadhana bhakti. Big section. All the 64 items of devotional service will be explained. So ready for the test? Okay.
Questions for this chapter.
Oh, questions for this chapter, correct. Questions, not much. Definition of sadhana bhakti? Question 2. Two types of sadhana bhakti. Define each of them.
One second. What is the second one?
What are the two types of sadhana bhakti? Define each. Question 3. What is the most important scriptural injunction? The most important scriptural injunction. Please quote the verse and the translation both.
Most important.
Scriptural injunction.
Put the verse and the
Translation.
Quote the verse and translation.
and
What is the most
translation.
important scriptural injunction? Asmartavya Satam Vishnu? That thing. Fourth,
What was that? This is which one?
Most
important. Verse.
scriptural injunction.
This is which verse?
This is the verse that you recited, Smartavya. Yeah. The essence of Vaidhi Sadhana Bhakti.
Remember Krishna. Okay.
Yeah, that verse,
I got it.
translation. And explain how each Varna and Ashrama are related to the universal form of the Lord. How each Varna and Ashram are related to the universal form of the Lord.
Explain how each Varna and Ashrama.
Related to the universal form of the Lord.